Hey guys, welcome back to Woods Tree Farm. We are wrapping up planting today, and I wanted to show you these trees that we got because they are the best transplants we have ever gotten. Temperatures this week in the mid to upper 80s. We're trying to keep our trees cool, so I have two AC units here in our shop going full blast 24 hours a day, and it might even be in the 50s in here. It is feeling comfortable, and I can pull out of the box here some of these trees and show you what they look like. These are 2-2 canaan fir transplants from Berkey's nursery in Pennsylvania, and you can see what I'm holding here is a good 18 to 20 plus inch transplant, and I would say most of the trees that we've put in the ground so far have been this size. There's been a few smaller ones, but the majority are within this general size range. We'll go now and I'll show you the plants that are already in the ground. From Berkey's, we ordered both canaan firs and white pine. Both of them were 2-2 transplants, and I was actually shocked to see the canaan firs were much larger, healthier looking plants than the white pine. For the price that we paid for their white pines, I would have much rather gone to the Virginia Forestry Department and gotten their 2-0 seedlings, which are usually pretty widely available. They happen to be sold out this spring. If I had known, I would have put an order in with them last fall when they still had inventory, but that is off the table now. Berkey's had these 2-2 transplants for the white pines, and I thought, oh, they'll be a little bit bigger. They really weren't any taller than the seedlings that we had gotten from the forestry department. So it's about a 4-to-1 price ratio. I could have gotten 4 times as many trees for the money from the forestry department than what I got from Berkey's. But the canaan firs I'm really interested in, and if you haven't been following us for the last couple of years and you aren't aware of some of the challenges that we've had, I'm going to quickly recap some of that for you, but we're going to head out to the field where I can kind of give you a quick demonstration of what I'm talking about. These are my only other surviving canaan firs, and we have planted, I don't even know really, I don't have record, but I think we've planted at least 12 to 1400 canaan firs over the last 6 years, and the last 2 years or so we didn't plant any because our losses were so heavy. And of that 1,000 plus that we've planted, there's just a few dozen here that are surviving, and the ones that are surviving are actually doing great. They look great. And I think the key difference over in this section is that the sun rises over there and we spin around, and we've got mature trees on this side providing afternoon shade. So the soil over here stays a lot cooler than the soil elsewhere on the property that gets full sun. So these were 300-foot long rows, and we had canaan firs all the way down. So just out here where these canaan firs are surviving, that's the shade line. And I was out here mowing one time a couple years ago, and I realized, hey, it's really obvious late afternoon, 4:30, 5 o'clock, that is the farthest reaching area of the shade late afternoon. So it must be the soil temperature here and probably a little bit of moisture retention because the soil's not getting as much sunshine that is helping these trees through the summer. We've got a few concolor firs up in here as well that are surviving, and just like the canaan fir, they have not survived anywhere else on the property except over here where they get shade. So one thing I've heard Christmas tree farmers talk about is planting their firs on a north aspect or a north facing slope, and that is something we don't have much of here on our farm. This entire field, this entire hillside faces south, southeast, and gets a lot of sun. So just for reference, my kiln, the slope on that building faces south. So this whole slope over here is facing generally that same direction with, between southeast and southwest. But the point is, all of this field is getting as hot as it can get in the Virginia sun, and that's a problem for some varieties of Christmas trees. So as we get behind the kiln, I do have a little hill right here, and this slope faces north. But we're really close to the tree line over here, and I think there would be some really heavy tear pressure on this side, And I would like to get this area cleaned up before we plant over here anyway. And we have long-term plans to clear some of these woods. So once some of this wooded area is cleared, we'll have a lot more north-facing slope on this little hillside. And then I've got a little bit more further back. So this area here is what I just refer to as the back corner. It is the farthest back section of the field, and it's another area where we've got another hilltop coming, and then this slope here is north aspect a little bit. It's not a lot of slope here, but we've got both morning shade from these trees on this side, and we get afternoon shade. So as far as soil temps go, this would probably be one of the coolest spots on the entire property. Again, my issue with this spot back here is probably mostly deer pressure. There's ways to combat that with fencing, electric fence or physical fence, and we could certainly explore that. But the other issue I have here is the soil, which I brought my shovel, and I'm going to show you what it looks like over here. There's a few of you out there who have watched me for years, and you might recall in this area we dumped tons and tons and tons of wood chips. We've planted cover crops. There's still a lot of clover if we look around. And a couple years ago I said I wanted to improve the soil back here because we want to try to plant some fir trees, and this might be an area where they will survive. And I won't say that I've abandoned it, but I'm at least cautious about it because of the soil. Go ahead and pull that up. And actually this particular shovelful doesn't look too bad. It's kind of funny, I go to show you the example and this one doesn't look as bad as some others that I have done, but you can still see, even though the soil was soft and easy to get a shovel in, it's still a very dense clay here. Okay, that's almost like a putty that we can mold, and that's what I'm most concerned about. When we have wet weather, this soil holds moisture too well, I think, for many trees, especially for the fir trees, and that is one of my concerns. There's other areas where I've stuck a shovel in before and we get a kind of a gray to cream colored clay that's even more pasty than this clay here, which tends to be a little bit more sandy. And it's in that clay soil where I know we're really not going to grow trees. So I can take you on a little walk now. I've got another section here on the other side of the cypress trees where we have similar slope. And I put a shovel in the ground here 2 weeks ago because I was thinking about planting some fir trees over there, and encountered the same thing with that dense clay, though it looked a little bit different. So we were just way back there. Now we're just on the other side of the cypress. We'll throw a shovel in the ground here, see what it looks like. And there we go. This is the typical undisturbed clay soil that we see all around the farm, and this is the stuff that I know our trees have struggled in the past. And what I've seen in other areas is if we work the soil for a couple years, plowing it, turning the soil over, growing some cover crops with some deep roots like our ryegrass and cereal rye. Sunflowers have done well for us. The sunflower stalks add a lot of material to the soil, organic material. And anyway, if we do that for a couple years, we can kind of change the composition, at least of the top 6 to 8 inches. We're never really going to change what's down below that. But this area over here hasn't been worked at all. And because it looks like this, I'm not planting any fir trees over here. So as we move over this way now, we're going to get to where we are planting firs. We have planted firs, and we'll finish that box of transplants that I showed you over in this section, because over here, less than 100 yards away, the soil looks completely different. Now this section of the field Like the others, it gets morning shade from the trees that are behind the camera. I'm in the shade already. And late afternoon, this soil hopefully is not getting as hot because this slope is north facing, kind of northeast here in this direction. But we have planted cover crop here now for a couple years. With cover crop and agricultural crop. We've done our ryegrass, we've done a buckwheat, we've done sunflowers more than once. This soil has been plowed, this soil has been tilled. So it has been worked significantly over the course of the last couple years, and the soil itself is just a different makeup. So I'll show you what it looks like. All right, what we get in here, and I went down pretty deep, but everything in here is a lot more sandy, a lot less dense clay, and the soil drains better. And what is here now is not nearly as moist as what I just showed you over there, because the clay composition is completely different. So as we have prepped our rows and tilled to get a good soil that's easy to dig in, it just turns into kind of a sandy type soil, and I think our fir trees are going to do a lot better over here than they have anywhere else. See how all that just breaks up. There's still some clay in it, but it's not the same dense kind of clay that we've seen elsewhere. Now these are holes that we dug last night. You can see it's pretty dry here right now. Haven't had rain in a little while, and it's been hot the last 2 weeks. So this is what soil looks like, but we did come through and water all of the trees. You can see it's all wet around there, and rain is expected within the next 48 hours. So I think we will be just fine up in this area. Like the other areas I've mentioned, I think deer pressure will be a problem over here since we're so close to these woods, and I know deer go in and out of this area all the time as they cross our property. So that'll be something we'll have to work on and combat over the next couple years. But for now, we're mostly just focused on survivability, and we've had terrible luck with canaan firs in other areas that we've planted. So we're thinking maybe we'll have better luck over here. And you guys know, over the course of the next year or two, I will keep you guys updated on how that goes. It's a slow process. So I'm gonna wrap us up. Thanks for watching, guys. If you got any questions or comments, you know where to leave them. Appreciate you. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.